The What to Read Next podcast helps you build a TBR of future favorite books. In each episode, Lori and Maine interviews authors and book influencers to recommend books they loved for you to pick up today. If you're an avid reader, always looking for your next great read, then the show's for you. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to What to Read Next podcast.
Hi, Laura. Thank you.
So happy to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm an age gap romance author. I guess age gap is really just what I'm known for. My most recent series is the Salacious Players Club, the first book being Praise, which really took off on TikTok. So it's probably where most of everybody has seen it. As for me, that's really about it. I live in Arizona and I love romance. So.
I love it. So Praise, the way I discovered Praise, there are a couple places where I heard it, but one of them was Sarah McLean has this old school historical romance Facebook group where it's just like historical romance. And she pointed out that she had just finished Praise and she was like, it's ex-boyfriend's dad trope. I know Nikki Sloan has written a book like that, but tell me what other books are out there, and it was like, I was like, oh, I need to read this. Like, I need this age gap in my life because there's something to be said about ex-boyfriend's dad, age gap that is taboo, that you're not supposed to, but oh, it's so good. And you did it so well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a little taboo and stuff like that. So talk to us, like, what inspired you to start writing age gap romance? Like, what was kind of like your driven,
Oh my gosh. I started out writing, just basic romance, and my first age gap that I wrote was Beautiful Monster. And when I first started out writing romance, I was really playing around with like different tropes, and I was like, am I an MC writer? Am I an enemies? Am I a bully? Like, what am I? And just happened to I was at the time reading some age gap, and I was like, I'm gonna try this. And I wrote Beautiful Monster, and like the minute I wrote that book, I was like, this is it. Like, this is my thing. And I knew from that minute, like, that was going to be my favorite trope, my brand. And because now 2 years later, and I don't know, like 10 books, like it's still just my favorite thing to write. And so, yeah.
I love this. And so how did you get into writing? Were you a romance reader? Or was it a late bloomer? Like, writing was a passion and you somehow stumble upon the romance writing?
So I have been writing, since high school, a long time. And I remember being younger and just wanting to be an author, but not really having the guts to write romance. I was a reader. I was a huge reader. I've been a huge romance reader since like forever. And it wasn't until, about 6 years ago that I finally was like, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a try. And so it was a long time between, when I first started writing it and when I actually published it. But I just decided one day, like, I don't care, like, that my family is going to know that I write romance, and I don't care that like people I know might read it. Like, it's a huge, genre of books with a huge readership, and it's totally just as valid as any other. And so, I had to just own it. And now I love it. I would never, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I know that now.
Yeah, I feel like it's like we go through the process of accepting, embracing that we're romance readers, romance writers, romance part of this romance community, and then we defend it at all times. After once we're in it, we're like defending it
to the death. Absolutely. It really does just take like that step of going, like, I think a lot of us are a little bit, shy about it at first. But I started out a paperback reader. When I first started reading romance, like, we didn't have Kindles to hide our books on, like, and there were no discrete covers. Like, I was reading, J.R. Ward, Sherilyn Kenyon. This was, 12, 13 years ago. I didn't have a Kindle. And I'd have to go to Barnes and Noble and get my paperbacks and call around to find the next one in the series, and so
Yeah.
and and then I think from there I just kind of was like, you know what, I'm not embarrassed about this, like I love it, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about,
Yeah,
so.
I love it. I love romance. I love like the covers. I love the half naked men, the clinch
Me too.
covers. Like I'm like the whole discreet cover. I understand it's a good marketing ploy and stuff like that, but in reality, I'm like, no, just give me the good clinch. Give me like embrace, give me kissing, give me like, there's gonna be spice here. So awesome. So let's chat about Eyes on Me. Talk to us about that book. Tell us the elevator pitch and then give me more.
Okay, so Eyes on Me is the second book in the Salacious Players Club. It revolves, so the Salacious Players Club has 4 owners, and so the 4 books revolve around each owner. The first one was Emerson, and the second one is Garrett. And Garrett, right off the bat, is your like very playful, funny guy. And his Eyes on Me is step sibling, a little bit of enemies, voyeurism, romance. So there's also some cam girl involved. And so the basic premise is he gets drunk one night and is scouring on his phone those cam girl apps, just, for fun, and happens upon one that looks familiar, and he opens it up and he starts watching it and he realizes it's his stepsister. And he doesn't turn it off. He doesn't swipe away. Nope. He requests a private chat, and he does so without showing his face. And so that is the premise, the start of the story with Garrett and Mia. So
it's like a reimagining of You Got Mail with spice.
Basically, yeah, like a dirty You Got Mail.
A dirty You Got Mail.
I love that.
I was like, oh, this is just like the shop around the corner, just really spicy and taboo.
Listen, if I could take all my favorite like 90s rom-coms and just make them really dirty, that would be like,
yes,
really happy.
Yes, I co-signed this. So Give Me More is book 3, which is coming out, and it's coming out this week when this episode airs. So give us a teaser of what it's all about.
Okay, so Give Me More revolves around Hunter, who is married. He has a wife, Isabel, and his best friend, Drake. And the 3 of them go off on a road trip to tour all of these other sex and kink clubs around the country to network and get ideas and sort of thing like that. And while on the trip, Hunter gets this idea that he might enjoy watching his wife and his best friend together, and proposes the idea. And from there, obviously things happen.
Oh, and things are gonna happen, and we're gonna
things are gonna happen for sure.
So is Maggie getting a book?
Yeah, Maggie. So Maggie's the 4th owner. She is the only female owner of the club. And so, I mean, like, right, just like order of deduction, I guess she would be the last one. And I'm not revealing anything yet about who her love interest is or what her kink is, but I'm excited. I'm excited about that one.
Oh, I'm excited because I was wondering. I was like, she's like quiet. I'm like, is she getting a book? Is she getting a book?
Oh, I wouldn't leave my girl out.
No. Oh, so excited. So let's chat some book recommendations. Do you have any books you recommend to our listeners to pick up?
Oh man, so many. Narrow it down. So I just recently finished Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, and that was really good. And I actually went to Barnes & Noble to go grab the second one because it was one of those I grabbed at Barnes & Noble. And that was really good. I'm reading The Dragon's Bride by Katie Robert right now. So that was really popular when it came out. And every Katie Robert book I pick up, I'm like, man, it's going to be a good time. And it's always a good time. So yeah. I just love her. Yeah.
Yeah, Katie does a good job. And I think she's taking on the monster trope, and just
Oh, it's like she's made for it. I mean, it's so good. And I'm just loving it. I totally read it. I was on a trip this weekend. Like I read it on the airplane. Like a paperback. Like I had no shame. Oh, yep, this is it. I'm reading this and it's so good.
it's so good. You should read the vampire series, the reverse harem vampire one that she has.
Oh
Um,
my
it's
gosh.
it's coming out. It's coming as special edition for Barnes and Nobles. I think they're like just 3 novellas, but they're going to be one big book. And it's a reverse harem with vampires. There's a lot of blood play, but it's like there's a lot of sex. There's swords crossings. There's just like
Oh yeah.
it's very dirty and like literally very dirty with all the sex, not the sex, all the blood that they actually, because they have to consume the blood in order to orgasm and stuff like that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So I
I'm
think
all about that.
the name is Sacrifice, Hair, and something else. I'll post it in the show notes, but it's coming up as a special edition Barnes and Noble. So you can get that,
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. So Sarah, tell us where you can find you online.
All right. I am everywhere online. So my website is saracatebooks.com. Recently getting revamped. So I'm sure by the time this airs, it will be up. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, all under Sara Cate Books. I'm really on Instagram the most, but yeah, I do love me some TikTok though.
Yes, I bet you do. So awesome. So thank you, Sarah, for being on the show.
Absolutely, I had a blast. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share with friends, subscribe, rate, and review the show. This is the easiest way to support this podcast. For a list of books mentioned and other romance recommendations, please visit whattoreadnextblog.com. The What to Read Next podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Please visit frolic.media/podcast to discover new shows to tune in. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.